All right, let's get this set up here. You guys are all on the little stand. Hopefully that doesn't fall. All right, well, if you're joining live or if you're watching it later, we are back in the garage. We are now, we have returned from our German excursions and adventures and all that, and we're just, we're still kind of jet lagged and trying to get situated back into the garage, getting familiarized with everything that was going on here when we left. And yeah, just thought I'd hop on here, hang out a little bit, and go from there. So, it is everything I wrote down before we left, so it shouldn't be like too hard to get back into the groove of things. But just getting back, we're jet lagged. I had to find some other things here in the garage. I had to order a couple things when we got back, and so yeah, just trying to get everything squared away, situated. We, if you haven't been watching the videos and you're just joining this for some reason, we got the first start like 2 videos ago. We got the first oil change out of the way. And now we're waiting on the first drive. So I had to fix this. We had a little bit of a fuel leak. This is the fuel pressure gauge, and the fitting right here was leaking right out of this thing. And so I didn't have it like super tight because I wanted to be able to read the gauge. And so it was leaking, I guess. So I had to put some new sealant on there, tighten it down all the way best I could. And then now we're just waiting on this to dry because I put this on there yesterday evening, so it hasn't quite been 24 hours yet. So we're trying to wait for this thing to dry up. It's probably going to bother me though because the gauge is now like crooked and you can't it doesn't look straight when it's on the car. So that might bother me, but it has to be tight. So gotta do what I gotta do. So it'll dry and then we can put it back on there. I guess technically I could start the car because you know, I just removed this fitting in the gauge, and so the fuel pressure is already set. I just don't like the idea of starting the car without being able to like monitor that by chance. And so, yeah, we like I said, we just got back from Germany. We're trying to get everything squared away. I wrote down everything that needed to happen before we left, and so we got to fix this pressure leak, which is what we're doing now. It's already, you know, drying and everything, like I said. We got to tighten the alternator belt and the little nuts on the adjuster. And I need to monitor, there's an oil pan leak, very small. So we have to check on that, make sure that's doing okay. I don't see anything on the ground. When we left, I put down fresh towels and all that stuff to like kind of monitor it and see if we got back, it'd be on the ground. But nothing's there, so I'm thinking that is taken care of. I tightened the bolts down there where it was leaking. We got to adjust the intake. Hello, how's it going? And so, yeah, just got to mark off these things off the list. A little, you know, just like there's like 6 or 7 things here, and then we can throw on the wheels. I do have to fix, in the, I guess the last video maybe, we had some issues with the ABS. Got to take care of that stuff. I was thinking before, while we were gone, and then some of you guys commented on the video that in the manual it says to bleed the brakes and all that stuff with the car on. I did go by the manual to look at some things, but I just did not see that in there. So I did kind of glance over that kind of section. So it's probably in there. I'll have to go back in there and check and see, but it says to do the brakes with the car on, and I have yet to do that. When we started the car, I didn't hit the brakes because I didn't have, I just didn't want to hit them, so I didn't hit the brakes. So it's the only thing we're looking at right now is it's either the ABS module is bad or it's that piece with the car on, because everything is bled. There's 2 front ones are bled. The driver's rear is bled, but the passenger side rear is not getting any fluid whatsoever. It's not even coming out of the ABS module. I took off the hose at the module and checked that before we left, and there was nothing. So there's something in there, solenoid, whatever. I don't know how they work, but that is blocked off and not allowing fluid to go through. So hopefully when we turn the car on and we start it again, we can hit the brakes and things will work how they're supposed to work, and we can get fluid to that one rear brake and we can take this thing for a drive. But yeah, just out here in the garage, like I said, we just got back like a day or so ago, day and a half ago. And yeah, still pretty jet lagged for everything. We were on the plane, was just delay after delay, and it ended up being like a 15.5 hour travel day, 16-hour travel day, which should have been like 9. So it's a little bit hectic. We got back later than we anticipated, but yeah, just reading on my list here, just making sure I'm not missing anything. Like I said, I tried to write all this stuff down before we left, but you never know. I've already went through and like tightened the alternator belt a little bit more than it was, so I won't know until I start the car again to know if that is fixed or not. If it begins to squeal like crazy, then we'll know it's not. I guess I could put this thing back on right now. It hasn't been 24 hours yet, but it has been quite a while. I'm just nervous to like put it on there and then it fail again, because in the video, I think in the last video, I put this on and then the fluid, like there's still gas in the line, so it never really hardened up, and so it was leaking again. So before we left, I just took it off of there, put the hose back on the fuel rail, and yeah, decided to fix it when we got back. Are you a master tech? No, I am not by any means necessary, or by any means. I always took my cars to a shop, and then I just decided that I wanted to build this car and learn all I could about it and all that stuff, and so here we are. It's been quite the ride. I guess maybe it won't bother me all that much that it's crooked, but it might. OCD can be a finicky thing. I'm trying to see, where's my key at out here? It must be inside somewhere. Man, we were gone for 15 days, and trying to get all like your mind back into where you were and everything, because we were just for so long, we've been working on this car and trying to get it back to running and all that stuff. And so right before we left was like super stressful, because there were just, if you haven't watched the videos and stuff and been keeping track of the build and everything, it was just one thing after the next. The last like 2 weeks we were here, and man, we got the car started and all that stuff like 2 or 3 days before we left, and it was like right up to the end. It was like, of course, like right here at this trip, everything's kind of coming together at once. And so going away for 15 days, kind of like letting my brain relax a little bit. Now trying to get back into it, just trying to like, I put a bunch of notes on my little whiteboard, and so I'm just like reading through all that, and like I said, just trying to get my mind back into this thing here. I didn't have a video today, so I thought I would hop on and do a little bit of a live, hang out for a bit, see who all joined. If y'all were chatting today or whatever you guys normally do down there in the comments, and we have some fun times hanging out here in the garage. Luckily, I cleaned up a bunch of stuff before we left, so there's not a lot for me to take care of out here right now. While we were gone, since the car is, it's not done by any means. We got tons of stuff to do on the interior and all that stuff, but running and all that stuff, where I'm trying to plan the truck build and get all that squared away. And so we will be, once this car can move and get out of the garage here and we can move it around, I'll be pulling the truck in here and we'll start tearing into that, getting the bed off and all that kind of stuff. And so just a lot of planning and all that kind of stuff going on right now. Very happy to have fixed that coolant leak as well. There's no coolant on the floor. Like I said, there's nothing really on the floor. I cleaned it up really nicely before we left, put down some fresh towels and all that, and so I'm not seeing anything down there. So that's a plus. I can mark that off my list, because I did have like a little bit of a coolant leak on one of the hoses where we put an aftermarket throttle body on the car, and it kind of takes away those OEM like water lines and stuff, or coolant lines. And so I put like a loop hose in there, and one of those, that thing was leaking. So there was a clamp on there that I had to keep getting tight, so I can mark that off the list here. If you guys have been watching the videos, what did you guys think of the first start video and all of that good stuff? We got we got Desmond from Performance Destination taking care of the car and getting it all tuned up and all that stuff. Right now we have a base tune on it, but nothing with like any kind of sauce right now. So that'll be after we get these next like 30 to 50 miles, and then we gotta change the oil again, and then 500 miles for the final break-in. It says here in the MAP notes that after the 500 mile break-in and the last oil change, we should be completely broken in, and we can run synthetic oil and all that stuff. We went through two oil change kits for the break-in oil. I just decided not to do conventional and just pay the money and do like the actual like break-in oil stuff. So I probably will run conventional after this oil change, just to get some like regular kind of oil in there. And then 500 miles, obviously we'll do the synthetic stuff. I probably will run Mobil 1. That's what I ran in the car before. I like Mobil 1. I thought about switching to Pennzoil, but I don't really know. I've got so many like notes and stuff that I left for myself. Yeah. You're emotionally exhausted right now. I didn't see that comment before, but hopefully you're still in the video. If you guys are just joining and you haven't been following videos, this is the build. This is the engine and all that stuff. Everything in here is fully built. MAP block, MAP head. If you can think of a part, it's been changed. Rather OEM or aftermarket. Everything I went through. I mean, bolts, washers, everything to refresh literally all that I could. Which, you know, as I was doing it, Mitsubishi keeps discontinuing like Evo parts. So there was stuff that I bought a couple of years ago that I went to look at now, and they're gone and all that stuff. So I was very glad that I've been like stocking and hoarding parts this entire time, because it would have been increasingly difficult to get new OEM stuff for certain things. But we did spend a fortune. I've had people comment on the videos about the hardware. We did spend a fortune on the hardware, but all new bolts, all that kind of stuff was important to me. So, well, more or less my OCD, but we got all that stuff taken care of. We got brand new everything down into here. We've redone the whole underside of the car. Titanium Tomei all the way back. We got Archer Fabrications manifold, STM titanium intake, CSF radiator, Skunk 2 like intake manifold and throttle body. Typically, the Skunk 2 intake manifold has their issues. We ran into those quite a bit, but Nothing we didn't take care of. Stainless steel brake lines. We got rid of all the hard lines on the car. All the fuel lines, all the brake lines now are soft braided lines. Cleanest Evo I've seen yet on YouTube. Well, thank you very much, because there are some clean ones out there. I knew very well that it was not going to be like the cleanest cleanest Evo ever, but I wanted to do as best I could and make one of the cleanest Evos ever, or at least as clean as I can make it. And so that was the goal, and I'm pretty pleased with myself and getting it this far and getting it as clean as it is. But there's always better. There's always stuff out there that kind of makes your jaw drop. But yeah, this is as clean as I could get it, and it turned out better than I had imagined with the color schemes and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm happy with it. The comments and stuff like that have been really, really positive. And so, you know, I just built it because that's how I wanted it. And so it would have been, you know, it is what it is. And so, yeah, I pretty pleased with everything. You know, there's just been, like I said, these last little bits, last like month, I guess, just a lot of little tiny issues that have been nagging and stuff like that. So, you know, it's not the Evo's fault. I mean, we were literally, this whole car has been apart for like over a year and a half now, 2 years going on it. So it's just things and bugs you have to work out. Everyone says that like the Evos are unreliable and all this kind of stuff, but it's really not the Evo, because it's just the stuff you do to them and how far you push them. I had this car for 7 years, built by shops, and I never had a single issue out of it. Super reliable, never had any issues at all. And so, you know, when you start building cars and you start changing parts and you start pushing the car past its limits, and you start to push the car parts that you put on there past their limits, things are going to break and things are going to be unreliable. And so my goal was to build a reliable build, and so we'll see how far that gets us and see what happens in the future. But you know, cross our fingers. It's like I see a lot of those comments about how like I said, about how Evos are unreliable and stuff like that. And it's like when you put parts on a car that are rated for a certain horsepower and then you push it past that, I don't really know what you expect or how long you expect the parts to last. So. Man, I'm looking at my board and like, I don't know how I read my writing sometimes. Looking forward to getting the cars out on a drive. Yes, Jason. There's some events and things happening that I want to bring the car to back home. So once I get some miles on it and I feel comfortable on a road trip, we'll have to bring it up there. It's kind of wild looking at the car. There's like spider webs and stuff in places. 2 weeks is actually quite a bit of time, I guess, not being out here, and things just start crawling on it. Drift Appalachia, yes. There's apparently there's one. They're going to be there again this year. I'm not sure when, but yeah. Timed out by my Nightbot. It says, "Why you gotta yell? Now you gotta sit quietly for 5 minutes." Not sure that I was yelling or sitting quiet for 5 whole minutes, but I guess that's your take on it. I'll have to go back in the analytics and see why it timed you out, though. There must have been something else that you said there that I'm not seeing on the screen. And the Nightbot was like, nah. I've been seeing so many videos of those drift Appalachian why you gotta yell? Now you see, you commented it again, and the Nightbot timed you out for another 300 seconds. I'm not sure what you're putting there. It's only showing me like the first bit of it, but you know, it's obviously something that is triggering my Nightbot. So, welcome back from Europe. Thank you, Brady. It was definitely a fun time. Spent some time with some family. I was gonna film some stuff there, but then once we got over there, I was just like, you know what? I don't want to like keep getting my camera out and all that kind of stuff. So we just kind of enjoyed ourselves and didn't bother with any of the filming stuff. I kind of started it on the way there and all that. And I'm like, you know, this is supposed to be like a family trip, so just took it easy, enjoyed ourselves. But getting back to that Appalachia, the Drift Appalachia, I've been seeing so many of those videos on my feed, and I feel like I recognize that road, but I can't think of the name of it. But yeah, should have filmed the bunnies. It would have just been sad. It would have just been sad. I do have some videos on my phone though. The second event they're doing there, I don't think it's going to be in the same place. I think it's somewhere else, Jason. So I'll have to get some more information on that and see where it's going to be. They're doing another one in Kentucky next, on like the western side. So it's even far, like it's like I think it's like a 9-hour drive to get to that one, but they're doing that, like they do Drift Appalachia, and then there was another, like they're doing like a hill climb kind of thing, and some like time trial kind of stuff. They have a bunch of different like events going on, and different style like driving experiences. I couldn't tell what roads they were doing. It all kind of looks the same. It could be. Yeah, I mean, up there, you know, trees and curvies. Hill climb at Snowshoe. I swear I feel like I saw something about being there. Taylor Drift just did that. Took his LS Swap Miata. He may have, because I did see some Miatas in the videos that I've been seeing. It could have been. I really wanted to go to that because that is, they did that in my like old hometown where I grew up and stuff. And it's just super cool to see an event like that happening on those roads that we used to like hunt for and drive and just go out and like find these old mountain roads and curvy roads and stuff like that. And, you know, we always did it in groups, but it was never organized, never like legal, and they most certainly didn't block the street and all that stuff like they do now. And so it's really, really cool to see someone put together an event like that on the old home roads, and it's just it's a different thing, and it's bringing car people to the state. So I guess that will be a huge benefit, and the more it grows, like already within like the first year of it growing, it's been so I feel like, I don't know anything about the back end of it, but I feel like this year was much bigger than last year's, and so I only imagine it's going to get bigger as the years go on and the more events they do. Have you done Tail of the Dragon? I have not. My funny story, my parents were driving just on vacation or whatever, and they came across it, and my dad never heard of it before, and he sent me a text, and was like, have you heard of a Tail of the Dragon? And I was like, yes, I have. And he's like, we just drove up on it, didn't even realize it was here. But I have not done that road. I would like to go and do that road, but I have not done that. It always seems like, I imagine it being a super fun road to do, but it always seems so hectic and busy and like lots of bikes and other cars and all that kind of stuff. And it just, you know, I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like it's hectic when you go there. Road trip, yes. I want to do some videos about like back home and like all the roads that we used to hunt and find, and just kind of like drive them and kind of show them off and do like a little series about like mountain roads and stuff like that. I'm trying to put together like ideas and places. So I'm gonna have to get a hold of you, Jason, and we'll have to talk about some of the old roads we used to find. I've got a couple, but I don't know all of them like you do by name. I was never the leader in like the finding of the roads. I always was just in the group. It seemed like. I found some good ones so far here in North Carolina, even that I feel like would be really, really banjos and hairpins. Banjos and hairpins, kiss your ass curves. Remember that one road we were on that one time, and we took this turn, and it was like an uphill, but it was like super sharp. And we came back, and like I had drugged my front lip, and that was when I had stock suspension and everything. So it was just a really, really sharp, steep turn. I think it was over by like around the Beaver area. Banjos and hairpins. That could be some kind of slogan. Have you done Tail of the Dragon, Brady? God, I need to vacuum this room. I did see also they're having a like some kind of like car meet or whatever at a place that Drift Appalachia group, or not that group particularly, but just the kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? The organization itself is doing like a little meet there in town, and they're going to be at the movie theater that we got kicked out of like countless times when we used to hang out with our cars there. And it's just, it's so funny to see this stuff happening back there that 10 years ago we were getting kicked out of, and all this kind of stuff. No, not yet. It's a bucket list. A group of friends and I were going to take our bikes and do it, but weather didn't cooperate, and they never got around to. That's a bummer, but I feel like doing it with bikes would be fun. I mean, cars, bikes, anything. I just feel like being on the road itself, there's just so many curves and stuff. There was a group of guys that there was like an Evo day or something up in that part of the country while we were gone. I'm not sure if it was there or not, but I think it was up in that area. I saw that Performance Destination went, and there was all kinds of guys from North Carolina that went, and I'm just ready to get the car just off the stands in general and taking it places and doing things with it. I thought about it while we were gone, and it's just been like a year and a half, 2 years of just work, like on the car itself. Like every time we're out here, we're working on it, we're doing something to it, and I'm just ready to enjoy it and just drive it a little bit, you know. I didn't realize how, I thought about it, and it's like how difficult it is to like stay motivated. Not motivated, I guess is the wrong word, but like just the same projects, just every single day that we're out here. And so I'm glad to have it at the state it's at, and I'll be even more glad when it's on the ground and drivable. It always looks packed. The video on YouTube of Scott speeding his STI with the roads closed. Yeah, that would, I mean, that would be, to have the road to yourself, I feel like would be just a crazy thing to do. I really want to look into that thing that they're doing with the Drift Appalachia group, about that like time trial and hill climb stuff. Because they have like a bunch of different classes. I was looking at the rules and the classes and stuff like that, and they have like street and like race car and like a bunch of different categories. So yeah, I would love to take part in that, where like a road is closed and you can just go drive. That would be fun, I think. You could be my co-pilot. Would you give me the directions? Would you read off a piece of paper if I was driving? I'll take my STI behind you if they allow me to stay the speed limit. I mean, they will. I mean, I'm sure you can just drive however you want to, I guess. You don't have to go over 40. All the all the soot can stay in your exhaust. It'd be fine. You don't gotta like get too high in the revs. Trying to think how I can incorporate that banjos and hairpins line into something. I don't know what it'll be, but something. Oh yeah, I gotta add a ground on the car. I took the one off of the intake manifold to frame, and I just found this wire under my little notebook over there. Gotta do that before we get to moving a whole lot of stuff. Keep the revs low. Second motor super. Hey, you're only on your second. Well, that really wasn't even used. So the car is only on its second. I feel like that's kind of low for Subaru at this point. When they had the Drift Appalachia thing, could you just hear the cars when they were downtown, or could you hear them driving? Because that would be a tale that they're pretty close. It's rookie numbers. I can't think of the road because they told me, like, I can't get on my messages while I'm on my phone doing the live, but I just cannot think of the name of the road. You were on your deck drinking beer. So you could hear him driving then, huh? I'll have to go back in my messages and find out what the name of the road was. I think the next time they're going to be there is more up north. But last year they did Pluto. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, because I feel like it started with a P, but I just couldn't think of it. Because it looked like maybe day 2, maybe both days, they were in the same place they were last year. So maybe that was what it was. That Hawks Nest Road is crazy. Because I feel like I think Ryan Turek and them went to like Glade to like unload their cars and stuff. Because I saw on his YouTube video that they were at the resort there in Glade. But he wasn't there this year, I don't think. It was just there were two other. They had Dai Yoshihara and Chelsea there, which is wild that like a pro drift champion was back home driving on those roads. Quick questions for you. What did you torque your oil pan bolts to? Whatever the book said to torque them to. I went right to the spec. Hold on, and I'll tell you in the manual. If I can find it real quick. I may not have the paper in this book anymore. I tried to put all the papers in like a little like sleeves, but I ran out of sleeves, and so I started putting the papers elsewhere. Yeah, it's not in here. Whatever the book said to go to, but I didn't. It always gives like a range, and so I was kind of like right on the nose, and so I did have to tighten a couple of those bolts a little bit tighter. So next time I'll go on like the higher end of the spectrum. Because it's always like, for instance, 20 plus or minus 5 or whatever. Where did you get the book? I'm looking for a manual. It's online. If you go to evoscan.com, I think they have a downloadable document there. If not, I know this is not very helpful, but Boosted Films on YouTube. One of his Evo videos, which is, there's a bunch of them, but one of those videos that has to do with like the motor and like, I think the timing videos, he has a downloadable link in the description of one of his videos, and I just downloaded it there, and I saved it to my computer. It's like PDF form, but it's like a bunch of different like PDFs, and yeah, I just printed them off and stuck them in the book, but that's where I got that manual from, because I found that the Evo Scamlin for me was kind of finicky, and so going through his link was much better. I don't have a way to like put links or whatever in my comments right now, so. I'm not sure if Boosted Films, I'm trying to think if he has a website. You could try Googling Boosted Films Evo Manual. Maybe it'll show up or something. I'm not sure. I haven't done that, but just a potential. Or if you wanted to go through and look at his videos and find the link, you could do that as well. "97 inch-pounds plus or minus 7. There you go. Thanks, Brady. "11B, it says on the index 11B51 is the page, and I run out of pages at 11B35. So they're somewhere either in the house on my computer, printed out, or they're in this stack of papers in my book, but. Lenny, who's Lenny? I'm not sure I know who Lenny is. Is there Lenny in the chat? Please look it up to verify I'm right. I do believe that is correct, but I could be wrong. Yeah, always do your own research and own follow-ups. it never hurts to get information from places, but it really never hurts to do your own verification and all that, because it is all just information on the internet. I'm gonna try to find this. It's bothering me now. Power steering, brake booster, blah, blah, blah. Ooh, this is the ABS page. Maybe I can see if it says, nah. It's just the one page. Anyway, let me check here. Nope, that's all suspension components. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just don't have it out here right now. I'm trying to, rather than paying for just an absolute ass load of ink, because my printer, while I call it a piece of shit, it's not really, but it goes through ink like it's going out of style, and I'm not trying to buy an ink packet every 15 pages, so I'm trying to like go to like a FedEx or something like that to like print the whole manual itself, because they do it like, they charge you like 20 cents a page or something like that, so spend like $100 and some bucks and print the entire manual. That'll be handy to do, because I went through an ink cartridge printing out just the sections that I printed out here. And I'm like, yeah, there's no way. By the time I spent all the money for the ink doing it myself, I could have just paid them to do it and use their ink and save money. I'd rather spend that money on hardware and titanium, you know? I doubt on the truck build that I go as crazy on the titanium as I did on the Evo here, but we'll see when I get into it what my mind does and my OCD. I have decided on a color scheme. Probably won't say this in any other videos until we get there, but it's gonna, like, obviously the truck's white, but I'm gonna paint it because I want to paint this thing, but I have never painted before, and so I don't want this to be my first my first paint job on the exterior. So I'm gonna paint the truck first, iron out, hone in my skills, and iron out all the defects and learn what not to do on that thing, because that's going to be like just like a little drift truck style build, so I'm not really worried about it if I mess up the paint. So we're going to paint that like a BMW color, or like a, well, so funny, it's a Toyota color, but it's a super color, so BMW and super kind of was on my mind. But it's going to be like a white with like a blue pearl, and then all the hardware and all that kind of stuff is going to be bronze, and then like a dark blue for other accent colors. Here's a PDF for all the torque specs of an Evo 8. I think Brady's getting ready to hook you up in the comments down there with a PDF. Although I don't know if you're trying to put a link in there, you might not be able to, because literally just this morning I went through my settings and I blocked being able to put links in there because spam and stuff like that. So if you're trying to do a link, it might not let you, but you could space it out and then they could just copy and paste it. I don't know why, but like I was telling you on EvoScan, they have that, like they have the document thing there, but like it was so finicky for me. Like sometimes it would work and I could go in and like choose what pages I wanted to look at and all that kind of stuff, and other times it just would not. Like it wouldn't load, or it'd be the wrong, I just don't know. It was just very, very finicky for me. And so when I came across that Boosted Films video and he was like, he had a link to it down in his description, I was like, sweet. And then I don't know where the link came from because it was so long ago that I just can't remember the video. Try to scroll through the comments and see if I answered everyone's. Brady, you were talking about taking your bike to tail the dragon. What type of bike do you have? Let's see what that message is. Fire ants. I don't know what my... I don't know what those comments were that were getting deleted by the Nightbot. I honestly didn't even know that Nightbot worked on my phone. I thought it was only when I was on my desktop, but you know what? I'll take it. There you go. I think it worked. I don't see... It might not show on my end. I'm not 100% sure. Ooh, not 100% sure. But yeah, if it's not working, like I said, it's because I blocked links, and you could just put the link in there and like space it out or leave out like some dots to make it a full hyperlink, and then they can copy and paste it if they wanted. Brady has me thinking about bikes on the tail of the dragon. VRG. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I would like to take a supermoto on there. That would be very, very fun. I would like a supermoto in general, but especially on there. Man, it is hot in this garage with no air moving around. It's getting that time of year here in the North Carolina. We had a nice big thunderstorm earlier. Now it's super hot. I'm gonna need to work on getting some fans or some type of like ventilation in here this year, because last year I didn't have any, and it gets stuffy in here. I've also got to work on my lighting too, because I was thinking about that while we were gone to Germany. I've seen the comments before in videos, and I hate it in general, but these lights and where they're placed, it's such a bad spot, because it like, there's always like in certain shots there's like a glare, and it's like right by my head or something like that, and it like blows out the camera shot. So I want to get these lights off the walls and get them up on the ceiling, and more of them, because the lighting in here is just so terrible. And we did sign a lease to be here another year, so I feel like I don't want to deal with this another year. So new lighting is coming. Some other little knickknacks are coming to help improve the videos. and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been noting that I need to fix the lighting for quite a while. Harbor Freight fan, best investment I ever made. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check them out because I have one that's at my parents' house, but it's so loud and it's not very, like, it's a big fan, but it's not like massive for the sound it makes. And so having that going and trying to film and stuff too, just, I don't think that would work out very well. And the one I have up on here now, this damn thing, it's just a little box fan. It moves air, but not very well. Obviously just being a small fan like that is not gonna do some heavy duty work, but that thing's loud too. So I like to find some like super quiet fans. I just saw on a video that Gingium makes, his YouTube handle is Gingium. He was doing a video for his drift truck, I believe, and he just got some fans that were like super quiet. So I want to look into those. I think there's a road called Back of the Dragon in Virginia by Hungry Mother State Park. We accidentally drove it leaving the park, and it was very scenic to the top of a ridge and back down. I'll have to look that up. I feel like I've heard of Hungry Mother State Park, but I've not heard of Back of the Dragon. I'll have to look that up. I'm gonna write that down because I will forget it. Paper. I need paper. Honestly, I just want to look up good drivable roads and just do like just a series on finding old curvy mountain roads. Back of Dragon. I'm gonna put that by Hungry Mo. State Parquet. I feel like you, Jason, would have as much as you just go drive up in that area. I'm gonna have to pick your brain. And then we can do it together. Just like the old times. Maybe a little less sideways for you and me. You guys are lucky to have fun roads. Being from Iowa, Illinois' border, there's nothing, just straight roads and corn. Yeah, being originally from West Virginia, there were definitely no shortage of just really, really curvy, fun, low traffic roads. And, at the time, you don't really, I don't want to say appreciate it, but you just don't understand like what you have up in there and like all the cool roads you get in the drive and all that kind of stuff. We used to just set out, go drive and try to find something we haven't found before. And we'd spend, all day, like just tanks of gas, just driving, finding cool stuff, like tunnels and things, just a lot of cool stuff. And so, yeah, to definitely feel appreciative for the things that we used to be able to drive. I've always wanted to do a full day up 219 from the Virginia border to almost PA. That would be fun. I could do a video of like, can you camp out of an Evo? and we just drive it. We'll drive somewhere. We'll camp. And we'll just sleep. I'll just sleep in the back of the Evo. Who needs a, who needs an overland truck when you can have one of these with a nice cozy back seat? Car packing, yes, exactly. Who needs an overland vehicle? My dad just sent me a text that said, when are you going to start working on the inside? Inquiring minds want to know. Soon. I need to, while we were gone, I was trying to decide, I guess, if I wanted to paint the interior. or just lay down the sound deadening stuff as it is. I think I want to scuff it up and put some primer in there, just an epoxy primer to seal everything up. But we'll see. I may have to put the interior back in and then take it back out at some point and do that, because I just want to drive the car, like I said earlier. I just want to get it off the stands and drive it a little bit. And so there's tons of things I want to do to it still, but driving is kind of important right now. It's a new mark? Yeah. Yes, he is doing all 50 states in his Evo. He's doing, like, I think I know who you're talking about, if it's the same one. But he has a blue one also, and he just did a bunch of, like, maintenance stuff on his car on Instagram. He's putting some photos and stuff like that, some videos and stuff like that up on there. Brady, are you near the Driftless area? I'm sure there are some sweet areas there. Driftless. I've not heard of Driftless, which is not saying much. Just saying I never heard of it. I'm gonna assume no, because I've never heard of her. Who? Based off of your description, Brady, of just straight in corn, I will. I've never been into that state or that area, but I can associate that with Ohio because I went to a motocross class there one time whenever I was younger, and that's all I remember about the area. It was just corn on both sides of the road for as far as you could see. It was just corn. Driftless is a cool area where the glaciers just went up, or just went around during the last ice age. It's a huge hilly region up that way. In fact, I am near there. Nice. Trying to read that sentence again because it just sounds so like, Driftless is this cool area where the glaciers just went around during the last ice age, and it's like sounds like so prehistoric. Didn't expect to see that. It's kind of caught me off guard. The stuff better hold this time. Just thinking out loud. I don't want any more fuel leaks. I'll have to take the Fox body up there since the Evo's in pieces. Evo pieces, I know all about that. What are the steps to doing a remote tune? For me, it was, I just contacted Desmond at Performance Destination. He sends you an email with all the programs to download. You have to download EvoScan and I think two other programs, because he has to be able to like screen share your computer. And then you have to have a Tactrix 2.0 cable that plugs into your OBD and your other little port, I can't think of the name right now, but up under the dash, plugs into there and then into your laptop, and then yeah, he does all the rest pretty much. I don't know like specific details and stuff like that about the process and what all he does. I just know that's what I done, and that's the cable I had to have because the 1.3 cable I had did not work. And so yeah, 2.0 cable, programs, and Desmond takes care of the rest. But you can get a hold of him on Instagram. He's very responsive, and he'll answer anything that you need to know or have to ask. And yeah, he'll help you out and get you hooked up. Performance Destination on Instagram. It was actually I was kind of nervous about doing the remote tune, because if something were to like go wrong or whatever, I wouldn't really obviously I would hear something, but as far as like what to look for and stuff like that, I wasn't, I was a little nerve-wracked about that, but it was actually a pretty painless process, to be honest with you. Most of the issues were on my end, because I had to hop on like 4 or 5 calls with Desmond to get it right and get it squared away, but most of that stuff was because of me or the car or whatever. Why did you choose a stock frame turbo with a built-in wastegate over a 6266 with an external? To be honest, it was because I had it already. And so I thought about going external wastegate and all that stuff, but it was like $250 to rebuild the FP Black. And I had the black already. And I had the black on the car for the longest time when I owned the car the first time, and I was really happy with the turbo. Like, the spool is super quick, it's stock frame, so it's not very laggy. And the FP Black is capable of like 700 horsepower, I think, or can hold up like to that much. And so I didn't have any crazy, I don't have crazy ambitions for an obscene amount of power. I just want it to be a reliable car and make good power and decent power and just be fun to drive. And so for my needs and what I wanted to do, the FP Black was the perfect turbo. And for, a grid lifetime attack or something like that, as non-laggy of a turbo as you could get, I feel like would be a good option to do. The 6266 is, it's a beast of a turbo. There's no doubt about that. It's been put on so many cars, it's very easy to see what they can do, but yeah, I don't think you'll have any trouble getting, I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure in the description of the turbo on FP's site, it says it's higher than that. And so, I don't think that the black, I think the black is a really, really solid turbo. They have the FP0 now, which is a little bit bigger than the black. So if the black couldn't do it, I bet the Zero could, and it's still stock frame. And so I don't know if I don't know at what point the internal wastegate kind of thing becomes an issue, but I upgraded that wastegate to the Turbo Smart whatever with what was it? Don't quote me on this, but it was like a 20 something pound spring, 25 pound, 23 pound, something like that. And so I feel like that is going to handle anything I'm going to put on it. So also, okay, so it's not like a one-time thing. It takes a couple times to get you right and fix some bugs. Yeah, he charges you a price, and that he says that's from start to finish. So however many sessions and whatnot it takes to get it correct and everything. At least that was my experience. He does. So on mine, I have, if you go back on my videos, I think 2 videos ago was the one that had the most detailed stuff, but 2 videos ago and then the one before that one, both of those videos has the tuning process in it. And yeah, we did 4 or 5 calls to get things squared away. I couldn't get, like I said, that 1.3 cable wouldn't work, so we figured all that stuff out. And then the actual tune itself, we were on the call. He told me to shut the car down. he would make an edit to the tune and then email me the edit, and then I'd upload, or he would upload it to the car. And yeah, we just we did we did 2 edits on the car, or on the tune itself, and the car was running great after those two edits. Hot take time. 1,000 horsepower is overrated. Good driving experience over high horsepower. Mo power, mo problems. I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think it is what it is. Like, I think 800 horsepower is overrated. You just don't need that for a street car. Why? I mean, it just takes away the fun driving experience. I've never driven an 800 horsepower car, so I can't really say I don't have like that kind of experience. I'm sure it's a blast. I'm sure it's super fun, but to be able to find somewhere to use that kind of power, I just don't know where you'd be able to do that. Obviously you can go mountain road driving and things like that, because we used to do it, but I just feel like 500 to 600 horsepower for a street car is more than enough to have fun with. Obviously, if you're trying to, like, there's different scenarios. Like, if you're going to drag race or you're going to do whatever, you're taking on the knowledge of knowing that, like, at 1,000 horsepower, you're going to break parts. There's going to be issues. Things are going to happen. It's not the Evo's fault. It's just you're making 1,000 horsepower in a 4-cylinder car. So think about how insane that is for starters. And then, you're going to break stuff at that. But I would rather have a car with 600 horsepower, somewhere around there, that I could get in every time, turn the key and go, and not have any issues at all. That to me is more of a fun experience than getting in the car, crossing your fingers, hoping that you can make the drive or whatever you're doing, and be like, well, hope this doesn't break this time or whatever. And like I said earlier, like when you start pushing parts past what they're capable of doing, there's gonna be problems. Like, I don't know why people blame the car when they're trying to get 800 horsepower out of a 700 horsepower part. It's just not gonna last. I take my stock STI on tight back roads and hardly ever feel it's lacking in power. I can't imagine driving 1,000 horsepower on a fun road. Yeah, I mean, this car had 480 to the wheels when I owned it the first time. That was the most power I had at it, and it was 480 to the wheels, 475, something like that. Whatever, it's 5 horsepower, and the car was a blast. I mean, there was never a time where I was like, man, I wish I had more power, or man, this thing's lacking power up this hill or whatever. It tackled anything that we threw at it, and we threw some pretty damn crazy roads, and it was just a blast. It was super fun. Like I said, reliable. I would take that any day. I can't imagine it's almost not even like a question. If you're doing like time attack or like mountain road driving, something like that, 1,000 horsepower is just too much. Like, there's no way you're going to get to use what it's like. The power range is just so much. There's no way you're going to use that. In my head, I don't know. I'm about to get a tune on a 6266 for Desmond, hopefully making 700. Heck yeah. That turbo will not have a problem getting that out of it at all. I just don't, I get the lure of like trying to achieve 1,000 horsepower or whatever, and I get the want to have that kind of thing and to build something crazy like that, but I don't think it's because I've never driven one that I think that it's extremely overrated and it's too much for certain kind of driving. It's not always about how much horsepower you make, because if you have an 800 horsepower car and you can't handle it, then what good's it doing you? I'm not a, and I've never have been to like, I've not been like a number chaser where I'm like, I have to be able to say I have 700 horsepower or 800 horsepower or 900 horsepower, just to say I have it. I don't know. I have not ever been a numbers chaser and had to prove something by the horsepower that I have. Just haven't been that way. I see tons of big horsepower cars on Instagram and YouTube, and they seem to me a way to get clout, and I hate that word. Yeah, it really, I mean, it's like I said, it's just a number. It's like, it's comparably to me like having millions of followers or hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram that you bought or whatever. It's like, it's a vanity metric. It's a vanity thing where like, you know, I feel like it's lost. 1,000 horsepower 10 years ago was just insanity to be. I mean, 600 back then was like just insane. Like if you had 600 horsepower, that was a wild build. And now it's like, oh, if you don't have 1,000, you're not doing anything. But it's like, but my car runs. Fix the brake line problem? No, not yet. I am working on, technically I could start the car right now, I guess, but I have the fuel pressure gauge and stuff off because I put new seal around it because of the fuel leak. And so I don't want to start the car till I get this back onto there, but I'm going to try bleeding the brake with the car on. I read some things and saw some comments before, and I'm going to try that before I go replacing the ABS module and all that kind of stuff. I want to see if that fixes it, which hopefully it does. I remember riding in your car at 480 and merging on the interstate and literally breaking all four wheels loose. I can't imagine. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it just, I don't know. It's just a funner, I don't know, experience, I guess. I don't know. I have no creativity when it comes to a name. That's a funny screen name. Reliability is way more important than horsepower. 100%. I agree wholeheartedly with that. I just, still thinking about it. It's like, just to say you did it, it's like, I make 1,000 horsepower with like 48 pounds of boost. It's like, why? Like you're gonna lift the head. You're gonna do, like, there's always something that's gonna be like, I don't know. Like I said, I get it. I get the want and it is crazy. It's insane that you can do that. And it's, I can appreciate those builds 100% because they are insane. But for me and the kind of driving I do and would want to do and have done, it just doesn't make sense for me. And I don't feel like my build is any less valid having 550 as opposed to 1,000. I just don't. I'd like to drive one time while wearing the pins. You might have to, because I don't even know if you would be able to, like, you may involuntarily have to have the Depends. I rode in I think it was called like a Bat Out of Hell edition Corvette one time, and that thing was like 700 horsepower, and my God, like the road we were on was not designed for 700 horsepower, and it was gnarly. It's like when I sold my car 600RR and got a Grom. My Grom was so much more fun because I could actually just do more with it. That's where my opinion comes from. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I'll use this analogy from my time with dirt bike racing and stuff like that. There's a hot take right now on this ideology of 450s just being too much bike. I mean, it's just the amount of torque and power they have is just ridiculous, and people get hurt, and the bikes are they're just too fast. And a lot of there are some pro guys and people that are in the industry and whatnot that have been riding 350s, and they say it's the perfect bike. You can use the power, it's not overkill, and I feel like it's the same kind of concept. It's just like the 450 is almost, I won't say unrideable because the guys do it and they make it look easy, the pro guys, but it's just a lot to handle. And the average person, I see guys going out and buying a 450 as their first bike, and it's like, oh my God, dude, you need to start with at minimum a 250. If you've never ridden one before and you get a 450 right away, that to me would be, that's scary. I mean, a 450 will throw you on the ground before you know it. And they buy that as the first bike, and it's too much bike. And the same thing with you with street bikes. Even back then, I was working at a bike shop, and people would come in and they're looking for their first bike, and they're like, oh, I want a 1000cc. And it's like, no, you're not. There's no reason why you need a 1000cc bike as your first bike. Let's start with a 600 first, or let's start with a 400. It doesn't look as cool, and it doesn't sound as cool, and all your friends have a 1000cc or a 750 or whatever, but you won't die. I mean, you can learn the power, you can learn how the bike rides, you can learn how to handle it, and all that kind of stuff. Then you can move up. Yeah, it's going to take you longer. It's a longer process having to buy multiple bikes, etc., but it's a much better route than just going for the biggest thing you can find first, right off the bat. Yeah, as long as you respect the power, 100%. I started on 600cc, but you gotta control yourself. Yeah, 100%. It's like I said, there's a reason why there's a 600, a 750, and a 1000, and then there's a Hayabusa. It's you don't go into the dealership for your first bike and say I want a 1300cc street monster, and you just take off and ride it it's just yeah. Same concept in my mind. I blend the two worlds of dirt bikes and cars quite a bit. So. I think it goes without saying on any car, two-wheel bike, anything like that, respecting the power ought to be a given no matter what the size, because it can all put you down. It's just, you got to learn, there's steps to take, I guess is what I'm getting at, and the long-winded version of that answer is there are steps to take and skills to learn and things like that before you can just jump on something and ride it like your friend that's been riding for 5 years or whatever, you know what I mean? I don't know if I'll get another bike. Too many people are on their phones while driving. Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, in Virginia, where I was living before, in the DC area, I passed people in traffic. No shit. They have I passed a lady one time on the interstate up there, and she had a book on the steering wheel. She was reading while driving, and I'm like, oh my God. And they say phones are the problem, but you're reading an actual, a legitimate book. That was I still remember that. And it's just, I will never forget that. It's what book do you have that could be that interesting to where you just couldn't put it down till you got to work? Take the train and read a book on the train instead of driving on the interstate, up there especially. They make public transit for that. Smut, yes. Just reading those romantic novels, just in it. 50 Shades of Grey. All right, let's see. How long have we been? When's the first drive? Hopefully, this week. The video might not be out this week, but I will probably be driving it this week. I'm gonna cross my fingers and hope for that. The wheels are already on their tires. Everything's good to go. I just got to put it on there. We got to tighten the suspension bolts in the rear to, like, once it's sitting on the ground, you know? And then, I could drive it now as long as I can get this brake line fixed. This week, if the ABS module isn't the issue, I'll say that, because I got to fire the car up, like I said, and press the brake and see if it fixes it. If that doesn't, then we're going to have a longer wait. But the best bike I've ever ridden was a CBR 600RR. It was awesome turns. It was light compared to. I could see that. The 600RR is in my mind, it's a legendary bike. It's just a super sick looking, very popular, has been for a while. And I imagine, a ZX10 is a beast of a bike. They'll make cars self-driving before adjusting behavior. Yes, they'll do, 100%. What wheels are going on? Oh, what do I say? I'll say. I'm putting Volk CE28 Club Racer Black Editions on the car. They're like that, like diamond black, kind of like sparkly black on there. Yeah, on the spot. Jason got timed out. I gotta look at my Nightbot. I don't know what's going on with that thing, but what did he say? View deleted message. On the spot. Why did that get? I don't know. I apologize. Shut up. Yes. I don't know why it's doing that, but yeah, on the spot. But yeah, anyway, CE28s, Club Racer Black Editions. They're Evo spec, 18 by 9.5 plus 22 offset. They look sick. I just think CE28s look so good on the Evo, and so yeah, that's what we have going on. We're running, what tires did I change to? Because I had the BF Goodwrench Sport Comps on the wheels before that I had. Because if you haven't been aware, I bought a set of CE28s before, and I knew they were the wrong offset when I bought them, but we were in Virginia and I was gonna have the car like done before we left Virginia, and I just wanted a set of wheels to put on the car to kind of like complete the look or whatever. So I was like, I'll just run some spacers, it won't be that big a deal. Yada yada, as time passed, the wheels sat in the house for a while, and the more I thought about it, I was just like, I just don't want to run spacers. I don't like the idea of running spacers and all that stuff. So we sold those, and I was able to track down those Club Racer editions, and yeah, I just ordered those. But I waited for not super long, but I wanted to have a set of wheels, and so in Virginia, and I just bought those wrong offset ones just to kind of just have a set of them. And they weren't even, they were just the gloss black. They weren't the Club Racers. So these look much nicer, and they're the right offset. So yeah. It was an ordeal there for a while with wheels, but we went from, long-winded again, we went from the BF Goodwrench Sport Comps to, I think, Bridgestone, something like that. I don't have them out here. I forget what tires. I've bought tires for my wife's car and all this other, and there's just so many tires in my mind that I don't even know which ones we have anymore. But I do have a set of the Sport Comps, non-all season. If anyone wants some tires, I'll probably sell those. I was going to use them for the truck, but I think I want to run 17s instead of 18s on the truck, so they won't do me any good. Got some RPF 1s for sale. Might go good on the truck. What snow tires you're going to use? I think you know the answer to that. They will be no snow tires put on the car. I've been tossing around the idea because I don't know what I want to do after we build the truck. I want to get another Evo to like really thrash on, you know, like I want to take it to like some rally stuff and some different kind of things and not have to worry about it. And so I think if I decide to do that route in the future, I'll have an Evo to drive year round and do whatever I want to with it and not worry about if it gets, you know, beat up or whatever. So we'll see. You know what smaller brakes I can get for the front so I can fit 15-inch rims besides Willwood? I was going to say Willwood. That's the only thing I know of that would be, I think the STM like drag brakes are really small, but they're drag brakes, so I'm not sure like what you're going to use them for, but and even that, I think their kit for the small brakes is Willwood, so I do not know, to be honest with you. I apologize. Yeah, I wouldn't, if you're using it for like street driving or like anything not drag related, I would not use those brakes at all, which I just assumed with 15-inch wheels that you were drag racing, but I don't know that for sure. But I definitely would not use those on the streets because they are not designed to do that. Do you still have your 3rd gen Taco? No, I sold that last summer, last end of summer. I sold that one. We we used all that for this build. But yeah, I got rid of that one because I just didn't. I mean, I had the 1st gen, so I just had to get rid of it. So it was just time to move on from that one. We were we were just talking the other day, this morning actually, and I was looking at Tacomas for the 2024 ones just to see. I was just curious, and the fact that they are almost 60 grand is like nauseating. It's a Tacoma. Let's be honest. Like I love the Tacoma. It was a great truck and all that stuff, but 60K for a Tacoma, they're out of their mind. I don't know how people are justifying this stuff and just buying it. I don't know how. There is no scenario that I can think of that I would ever walk in smiling and just drop 60K on a Tacoma. I wouldn't drop 60K on a pickup truck, period. Let's just, I mean, put that, just, I don't care what it is. The Tacoma is what I'm using right now. That's what we're talking about. But I just, why? You know, there's so much, they're putting so much bullshit technology in these things now that they're justifying that and stuff for the pricing and stuff. But it's like, come on, like there's so much that can go wrong on those things. Like so many things to fix, and it's expensive to fix. It's like, well, this computer went bad, so you got to replace the 5 other computers that run the other. Oh, there we go. I would buy a shit box and for like $5,000 and spend the other 55 modifying it before the TRD Pro comes with suspensions. I mean, come on, gotta have those suspension seats for your Tacoma. It's like it's a big rig like Mack truck or something. You don't need it. I just don't understand. It's like, oh, it's so. It just makes no sense to me whatsoever. Useless stuff. I think it's because these companies and corporations just in general, it's always got to be better. The next best thing has to be like, they can't just build a solid ass truck and be like, you know what? That's what it is. Every year has to have something different. Every year's got to be these new features and shit like that. And it's like, at what point do you run out of crap to put on them? I mean, it's like there's so much crap already that you don't need. The Tacoma I had, the 3rd gen, I barely used any of the features. Like it had that like lane monitoring thing. I turned that off. It had the thing that keeps you from getting up on close to the. I turned that off. I turned off most of the sensors that they even had. So it's like, just don't make any sense. I don't know. It's not like everybody has their own taste. Everybody has their own thing. That's why they're there. But for me personally, makes no sense in the slightest, and they could not sell me on suspension seats or whatever they put on them. All those sensors are there for the lady reading it. You know what? It's probably true. I think the new Chevy Colorados look better. Plus the towing capacity and the sleekness of the cabin. The Taco has a run for their money. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the 3rd gen, I mean, it pulled the car, but I was at the tippy top of the towing capacity, I think, because with the U-Haul trailers like 1,500 pounds plus this thing, it was close, man. I was very skeptical to pull it with the truck, but we we squatted the hell out of the suspension, and I had a TRD off-road, so we had that upgraded suspension, but it squatted the shit out of the back suspension on that thing, but it did it, and it did it, didn't have any troubles or whatever, so, but it was definitely maxing it out. Coming from Ohio to pick the car up when I first bought it, back down to Florida was quite the haul. Oh, I missed that one up there. Mario says, thanks. You're welcome. I hope I helped, or we all helped in the comments as best we could. Hopefully you get it figured out. I had the previous gen Colorado and loved it more than the Tacomas I had. Jason, you had like 5 Tacomas too. The new ones look really good, especially the ZR2. I haven't seen the ZR2. Or that I'm thinking about it, I haven't seen the new Colorado in general, I don't think. May have to look into that, which I haven't been looking at trucks anyway, so it doesn't matter, but just saying I haven't seen it. I keep trying to like the Tacoma, it never worked out. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, yeah, I mean, you would get one and then you'd had it for a little bit and you're like, nah, and then you'd send me a picture from a car lot and you traded it or something every time. You had about every model too. You had like a single cab with roll-up windows. You had like the TRD off-road. You had the regular one. My Civic lease is up next month, so I need a new vehicle. Test driving a Trail Boss tomorrow. Nice. Nice. It's a heck of a time to have to look for a new vehicle, that's for sure. I don't, the single cab was awesome. I was talking a while back, like I love my little 1st gen single cab now. It the double cab was great to have for certain things, but like, man, a little single cab 1st gen, you can tell there's so much more I took out all the interior, and there's like 6 wires in the whole interior of the car. Yeah, I am living that regular cab life now. We take the truck to the grocery store and we're like, oh shit, I forgot that I don't have a, gotta throw this stuff in the bed. But there's just so much less tech in there. It's refreshing, to be honest. Aloe vera, I don't know what that means either. I'm sorry. I didn't know what the, I don't know if I'm like missing the abbreviation or what, but I just don't know what those mean. But how long have we been? Holy crap, we've been on here for 95 minutes. Well, this is going to be a long video for anyone that is watching this video back. If you are watching it back and you've gotten this far, I appreciate it very much. Thank you for checking it out. I'm going to go ahead and end this thing off here because we're getting pretty deep into it right now as far as time goes, and I got to do some other things this evening as well. So I'm going to hop off of here. Thank you to everyone that came into the chat and was talking and communicating. That's one of my favorite things about doing these lives is just hanging out and talking with you guys and just shooting the shit, you know. One of my favorite things. So again, I talked about it before. I wanted to get on a schedule of these things, but then things got kind of hectic around here with the first start and all that stuff. So I stopped doing them, but we'll get back into the swing of these things. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. I will have a video out next week. Like I said, first drive is gonna be dependent on this brake line thing. But either way, see you guys in the next live. Thanks for checking it out. Bye.